A dystopia world can be defined as an imagined or extrapolated society that embodies the worst aspects of human existence. It stands in stark contrast to a utopia, a perfect and idealized society. The concept of a dystopia originated from the Greek words dys, meaning bad or ill, and topos, meaning place. Coined by Sir Thomas More in his work Utopia, dystopia refers to a society that is far from the ideal. This type of world is characterized by several characteristics, and these characteristics include the following. Totalitarian rule. Dystopian worlds are often governed by oppressive regimes or governments that exert complete control over every aspect of people's lives. Individual freedoms are curtailed, dissent is suppressed, and surveillance is pervasive. Societal decay. Dystopias typically depict societies plagued by environmental degradation, economic collapse, or moral decay. The world is often portrayed as a grim, decaying, and dehumanizing place. Inequality and social stratification. Dystopian societies frequently exhibit extreme disparities in wealth, power, and access to resources. The ruling class enjoys extravagant privileges, while the majority struggle to survive in poverty and oppression. Loss of individuality. Individualism is suppressed, and conformity is enforced in dystopian worlds. Personal identity, creativity, and independent thought are discouraged or even punished. Technology as a tool of control. Advanced technology is often harnessed by oppressive regimes to monitor and manipulate the population. Surveillance, propaganda, and mind control techniques are prevalent. In the realm of speculative fiction, the concept of a dystopia captivates our imagination and serves as a warning against the potential dangers of an imagined future. A dystopia world presents a nightmarish vision of society where oppressive regimes, societal decay, and loss of individual freedom prevail. Literary and artistic works that adopt this concept fall under the name dystopian fiction. In this essay, we will delve into the essence of a dystopia world, exploring its defining characteristics, themes, and the underlying messages it conveys, with example of some novels, video games, series, and movies. The first example is probably one of the most well-known dystopian novels, 1984 novel by George Orwell. The novel was published in the 40s, so 1984 for its time was a future date. In this imaginary future, the world has completely changed as a result of continuous wars and revolutions that ended with 3 superpowers ruling the world. The events of the novel take place in Britain, which is now just a province under the rule of Oceania. One of the 3 great powers, Oceania is ruled by one totalitarian and dictatorial party, under the leadership of a person called Big Brother, who no one has seen or even know if he is a real person or not. In Oceania, the government controls everything the citizens do, from the language they speak to the job they hold. The thought police constantly monitor people in their homes, on the street, and in their workplace, and punish any kind of different thinking or even a hint of criticism of the government. Throughout the novel, we see the protagonist of the story, Winston Smith, as he tries, like most dystopian stories, to rebel against this system. And the first example from a game is We Happy Few. The events of the game take place in a world with an alternate history in which America did not join the Allies, which caused their defeat in World War II, and Germany's success in invading Britain. The heroes of the game live in a fictional city in Britain called Wellington Wells. The people of that city made a deal with the German army and gave them something in exchange for Germany leaving the city. Germany did indeed get out of Wellington Wells, but that deal was so bad that all the people of the city agreed that no one would ever talk about it. Indeed, the city was cut off from the entire world, and a government established it to force the people to forget that sad memory. And this is by forcing each of them to take a hallucinogenic drug called joy. And this is a drug that makes them see everything rosy and beautiful, even though everything is very bad. The government has appointed employees who erase any sad news from the newspapers and constantly monitor people and force them to wear masks with a smile on them. And anyone who refuses to take this drug or shows any sign of sadness, the government arrests him and then he disappears completely. The third example and the second game on the list is Half-Life 2. After the events of Half-Life 1, portals appeared between our world and another world from which an alien empire called the Combine. And these aim to conquer all worlds in all universes in order to bring them under the control of that empire. The Combine occupied the entire planet Earth and ruled it with iron and fire. They are starting to deplete all of the planet's resources, and humans are constantly being watched. And the soldiers of the Combine kidnap people and torture them under interrogation. The Combine also put substances in the water that cause people to lose their memory, which makes them easier to control. They also made a device that produces something called suppression field. And this is about a field that prevents humans from having children in order to slowly eliminate humanity. The game's protagonist, Gordon Freeman, has joined the Resistance, who are trying to save Earth from the Combine's occupation. The fourth example on the list is BioShock. BioShock is set in Rapture City, and this is a city that was built entirely on the ocean floor, created by a man named Andrew Ryan, in order to become a utopia that is devoid of any government authority and freedom, in which is absolute for all citizens. Rapture has already started Kyotopia with an amazing economy and technology so advanced that it had a product called Plasmid that gives people superpowers. But then a mysterious person named Atlas appeared, who mobilized people against the rule of Ryan, and he and his group began to carry out terrorist operations in the city. Rapture fell into a civil war that completely destroyed the city. Even worse, the people of Rapture have become addicted to the substance inside the plasmid and are killing each other to get it. The hero of the game, Jack, was on board a plane that crashed near the entrance to that city. With Jack, we explore the sad and shocking past of Rapture, which has turned into a dystopia due to the conflict between the rule of Andrew Ryan and Atlas and his terrorist group. The fifth example in total, and the first example in a series, The Handmaid's Tale. Based on the novel of the same name, The Handmaid's Tale is set in a future where human fertility has plummeted to dangerous levels, and the United States fell as a result of a civil war, and a totalitarian theocratic state called Gilead arose in its place. In that country, only men have the right to education, work, or even own property, and women were divided into certain roles that they are not allowed to deviate from, and among those roles is what is called the servant. The maids are owned by the top men of the country just to have children. That is, as if they are just a machine for procreation only, regardless of their desires. Of course, their rights and freedoms are completely robbed, even their names are forbidden to be pronounced, and they are named after your owner. Just as the heroine of the series is called Offred. And this is because her owner is called Fred. The sixth example and the second series is Black Mirror. Black Mirror falls under a genre called anthology series. It means a series with separate episodes, and each episode has a different story. What unites them, however, is that each episode explores a different future and the potential effects of technology on humans and society. In one of the episodes, we see a world where people have to ride power-generating bikes in order to get the money they need for everything in their lives. In another episode, we see a parallel world with technology that allows people to record everything they see and hear. And is this a good thing or a bad thing? In another episode, we see a future with technology that allows people to imprison a copy of their consciousness inside a machine and force it to run the house for them, which opens the way for an interesting ethical discussion. The ideas of the series aim to make the viewer rethink his relationship with technology and its impact on him, and the consequent ethical, philosophical, and social issues. The seventh example and the last series is Westworld. Also falls under future science fiction. The series deals with an amusement park called Westworld. This city is designed in the form of the American Old West, and everyone who lives in it are, in fact, robots determined to perform certain tasks throughout their day without even knowing that they are robots. Visitors to this city can do anything in Westworld and the robots that inhabit it without fear of any consequence. This is because robots are programmed to be unable to harm humans. This world is beginning to take an interesting turn when several robots begin to gain awareness that their lives are a lie. The series also explores philosophical questions about the nature of consciousness, the morality of the whole situation, and the human relationship with technology and its impact on society. The last example on the whole list is the movie, The Matrix. In the future, machines have rebelled against humans and taken over the world, and they feed on the energy produced by the human body by placing humans from birth inside a simulation called the Matrix. Inside the Matrix, humans live a very ordinary life that is similar to ours, and they have no idea what the real world looks like. Whereas in the real world, they are just a sleeping body inside a machine. The film's protagonist, Thomas Anderson, meets mysterious people who shock him with the truth of the world. They gave him the choice between remaining in the simulation and the ordinary world in which life is normal, but it is an imaginary world, or to awaken to the real world in which awakened humans are constantly hunted by machines and their lives constantly threatened. Anderson chose to wake up to the real world despite its cruelty and join the resistance who are trying to overcome the machines and restore human freedom. Don't forget to tell us in the comments about other examples not mentioned in this video.